Hello everybody, today is the 23rd of October and I'm sitting here in Singapore to talk to you today about G999 Masternodes and how to do it and how to set them up. I'm joined by Lachlan Gregory, who is a friend of mine and also the son of one of my best friends throughout my life. Hi Lachlan.
Hi Anthony, how are you doing?
It's great, Lockie. Thanks for joining. And the reason Lockie's joined me is he's much smarter at this than I am, and I have to confess that he helped me with my first node setup. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take you through a couple of topics here. And I'd just like before that to tell you that I'm expressing my personal opinions, and you're going to have to form your own. I can't guarantee that the information I'm going to provide you is accurate, and it may change. So please be alert and follow the various channels that are made available to you. Now, how I configure my Masternode might be different to yours. Again, you need to make your own decisions, and I'm not giving you financial advice, and I'm not giving you IT advice. I'm not an IT help desk. So please don't contact me after this and expect me to set up your node for you. Nor Lachlan either. Neither of us can do that for you. However, we're here to help. And the way we're going to do today is we're going to make it very simple and conversational, and Lockie's going to interject and coach me through the process. And I will do it as your average normal user. And I'm sure there'll be bungles and moments and mistakes, but it's good for you to see that because it'll help you avoid the same things yourself. Lockie, have you got any comments for our viewers?
No, I'm just really excited to show a proper video of how to set up these G999 Masternodes. It was a challenge for me setting up my first one. As you said, I helped you set up your first as well, and that was also a bit of an experience and a trial, so I'm just excited to get this information out.
Wonderful. Thanks, Lockie. Okay, so what are you going to see today? You're going to see how to buy a VPS, or virtual private server, and how to set it up. Then what we'll show you is getting the Masternode account address, paying for the Masternode, linking the Masternode to the virtual private server, and then activating the Masternode. Now, before you all jump in, there are some things you've got to do before this. You've got to have a G999 wallet set up, and you've got to have some coins in it. So here are the pre-steps that you're going to have to do. Start on the left. First of all, you've got to create migration codes for your nodes and your KBC. This is going to be in your Carrot-Bit exchange, and you need to go to two different places. You need to go to the reduction plan, which will give you the migration codes for your KBCs, and you also need to go to your nodes tab if you're a nodes owner, and that will give you the migration codes for your nodes. Everybody, if you do not have a node now, you will not be able to create one before the 15th of December. All the existing node holders have first chance to create a node. So if you don't have a node today, keep this video, use it after the 15th of December, or if other advice comes beforehand. Because the other advice we've got is if every existing node holder has completed their nodes prior to the 15th of December, general release will start earlier. Okay. Anything on that, Lockie?
Just, I think, to reiterate that point, there will not be all nodes taken up by the previous node holders. It has been specifically designed that way. So if you have missed out and weren't a node holder, this advice is still very poignant to you and still very relevant to you if you see yourself as a node holder in the future.
Great. So then the next thing you do is you import your migration codes into GS Trade. Now, have you set up your GS Trade exchange? Lockie, there's a bit of advice on that, of course.
Yes, please make sure that you sign up with the same email address that is your Carrot-Bit email address. Without this, you will not be able to import your migration codes, as that is how they are verifying that they are going to the correct account. So please, please do not go through all of the KYC process, getting all the way up to gold level, only to have to restart again because you have the incorrect email address to import your codes.
Yeah, that's good advice, Lockie. So everybody, get in there, get it done, complete the KYC, as Lockie's saying. You've got to get through to gold before you can actually do the importation. Next thing you've got to do is you've got to make sure you've got a G999 wallet, and that's a wallet that you can download, and you need to set that up on your desktop. All right, the instructions of how to do that are available on G999 main.net. Now, once you've got that wallet set up, you need to transfer 750,099 coins. You don't need to remember this number later, but it will be a fixed amount. You cannot transfer another amount. If you try to transfer another amount, it'll stop you. If you manage to transfer the wrong amount, it will be locked for 12 months. So don't do the wrong thing. Follow the instructions exactly.
One thing on that, and please do not transfer 749,999 coins, which is what you think you need for your Masternode. As Ant says, it will not let you do that. There is only two amounts that you can withdraw, being 999 coins of the educational airdrop and the amount received for your node. But sending 749,999 coins anywhere on the blockchain and at any point, even when it is live and exchangeable, will lock those for a year. So please be very careful.
Yeah, that's a great point, Lockie. Yeah, so there's two things here. The reason it's 750,099 is that when you buy your node, and we'll show you how to do that, when you buy your node, you need a small number of coins as the gas to run the node. That's the reason you're sending more coins to the wallet than you immediately need, because you will need some fees to get set up. Very small, but they're giving you some headroom in that, which is why the amount is 750,099. Okay, and the last thing to do is go to G999main.net and get or download or copy the instructions. What I've done is I've gone in, I've clicked the link, I've got the instructions, I've copied and pasted them, and I've put them into a Word document that I can have open on my desktop as the instructions to follow when I'm doing it. And you'll see all that in a moment and how I've set myself up. So Lockie, any more comments on this, or I think we might go and buy a VPS and have some fun.
Let's get started.
All right, so we're now going to go and buy a VPS. I'm going to stop, I'm going to escape out of this. And from there, we're going to go to, let me show you what I've got open on my desktop. So the first thing I've got open on my desktop is I've got my Safari open. We don't need the rain areas. So I'll get rid of that. We don't need my inbox because we don't want to be disturbed by inbound emails. But what I do have is I've got vulture.com. Now, I will send out with this the details of how you can get onto this particular vendor, but you can pick whoever you want. Now, what you'll see is I've already got 3 masternodes, and I've got one in Singapore, one in Tokyo, and one in Sydney. And the reason I've done that is every now and then there can be problems with the data center, and so I've spread my risk by putting it across a number of different areas. So right now, what I'm going to do is, this is the company, it's called Vultr, V-U-L-T-R, vultr.com. Now, you don't have to use this vendor. The reason I'm using this vendor is it's pretty easy to deploy a new server, which is what we're going to do.
I will add one thing onto that. I also am using Vultr to run my masternodes. And the reason that for me was being in Australia, being in Sydney, it's quite important for me to have that in Australia, as well as being able to fund your account through cryptocurrencies after making your first deposit is also a big positive for me as someone that is mining, using nodes, as well as trading in cryptocurrencies. So that was a big plus for me.
Yeah, that's a good point you've made, Lockie. So in fact, you can pay for these servers with Bitcoin. So once you get started in this, you don't have to use your credit card. Once you've got the momentum going, you can actually use the G999 coins that your server creates to pay for your server costs by turning them into Bitcoin and paying with Bitcoin. So it's actually a virtuous circle. So great point you've made, And that's actually very helpful to people. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and buy cloud compute. So we've ticked that. Now, in this particular case, I'm going to pick another location. I thought we were sold out in Seoul, but you know what I'm going to do? I think I haven't been to the Netherlands for a while, so I'm going to have a server in Amsterdam. It doesn't matter where you pick it. You pick it where you want it, okay? It's fine. You can see all these different locations. Now, if you remember, the operating system you want is Ubuntu, or however you want to pronounce it. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to give me an option of which one. The one you want to pick is here, 18.0464. So I click on that. Now comes the money choice. Now, honestly, this choice here at $20 a month will actually do the job. It meets the minimum requirements. Now, Lockie and I are both cautious people, so I'm going to go for the $40 a month because I always like to over provision a server. And also we've got no track record of the workload for a node. So we don't really know what the maximum capacity is required for this particular server. I don't think it's risky to go for $20, but I'm always extra cautious. So I'm going to go for 40. Lockie, is that why you made a similar decision?
It is exactly why I made a similar decision. There will always be two requirements that any software lists. And if you go to that Masternodes tab at G999main.net and have a look at the requirements, there are minimum requirements and there are optimal requirements. The $20 a month does meet the minimum requirements, so I'm sure it will run fine. However, I'm always someone that prefers the optimal requirements, particularly with no track record, as you say, Anne, about what the type of load will be on these masternodes, particularly when G999 does go live. So I'm always on the safe side.
And the way I look at it as well is there are tools available here that you can do. You can actually look at the performance of your server. If over time I see that I have significantly over provisioned and I want to own more masternodes in future, then I can go back to the $20 a month option. But I prefer to find out from a position of success than from a position of failure. So exactly. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to go for a $40 and I'm going to deploy now. Wow, that wasn't very hard, was it? So as you can see, here is my new cloud instance, which is in Amsterdam and it's installing. And we'll let it install for a while. And once it's installed, we're going to go and name it. And then once we've named it, we're going to go and do some important things like set up the script that needs to run. So while that's installing, let me show you what else I've got open on my desktop. So I've got Microsoft Word open, and as you can see, I've cut and pasted and copied the instructions out of the what was it? The G999 mainnet
yes.
is what I've copied. Now,
Masternodes tab.
Now, I'll be honest with you, these first things here, you don't really need. So I'm going to just cross them out because, and I don't know why they've done those. The reason why we're using this vulture is that when we run this script, it sets the server up in such a way you don't need to download PuTTY in order to do it. So that's the other incentive for me of using V999.
Yeah, so with Vultr, I'll add to that. So PuTTY is something that just allows you to access your server from a regular desktop. It is only for Windows, so that is a difference where we're setting up on macOS at the moment. If you go with a different provider that isn't Vultr and does not provide an online terminal or a way of accessing the server, then the PuTTY step will be required. There is many YouTube videos on how to use PuTTY and how to access a server that are much better explainers than either I or Ant could do. However, with using Vultr and their online terminal, it is set up and ready to go for remote access, and we can just run the script in step 3.
Yeah. So the other reason why we're doing this on a Mac today is it's not quite as easy on a Mac. So we thought we'd take the more difficult option so that you can see how it works. Windows users, you'll be able to do some cut and paste options that I can't do on a Mac, where I've got to do some things manually. So, all right, so I've got that open. All right, now let's just go back and see where we are. We're still installing.
Let's open the cloud instance and see if that helps refresh the page a little bit.
Well, what I'm going to do here is while I'm waiting for us, I'm going to go click here and I'm going to label this as Masternode 4. So this is my fourth Masternode, okay? So that's all good. So I've now got a name for it, Masternode 4. And it's now created and your server is being installed. Now, the next thing I've got to do is I've got to get this server set up so that it can be used. There we are, look, we're all fully set up now. And over here, you'll see a little console and I'm going to click on that and it's going to bring up the console. So remember, as we said just now, there is a console and here we go, and it's ready to log in.
So I will say one thing before we begin, please don't be intimidated by the console. As I said to Ant, when I opened this up the first time, he went, oh God, what is that? This is one of them. It is, once you get past the intimidation factor of bare text, it is one of the simplest steps that we're going to do today. And please don't be afraid of it. It is just like using any other program on your computer. It just might look a little different.
Now, the first thing to note is that I cannot cut and paste this password that you can see. See where my cursor is? There's a password. I'm going to need that in a minute. So I'm going to have to put that in manually. I know that there is a copy tab, but because I'm on a Mac, I cannot text it straight into here. So what I'm going to do now, if you can see my username is root. We haven't created a special username. So I'm going to put in here root.
We'll need to hit enter first to start the login. Sorry.
There you go. Sorry, I've got to return. Okay, sorry, there's the login. I beg your pardon. I'm going to see, this is why we got Lockie here, because I'm just a dumb user. So there you go. That's mistake number 1. Press enter, root. Okay, and when I press that, it's now going to ask me for the password, which I've got to put in manually. And you won't see what I'm putting in, which is also a bit frustrating because you don't know whether it's right. And I've several times had to do this again and again because I've stumbled on the keys. So don't get frustrated and angry, and don't be a mad mouse clicker, or just don't go crazy. Just take it easy. Now, hopefully, I got that right. Yes, I did. I got my password in correctly, and I pressed return after I put it in. And as you can see, it has all this lovely welcome to Ubuntu. And I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. And as you can see now, it gives me the opportunity to put in an instruction. Where do I find the instruction? Let's go back here. So here's the instruction. I'm going to highlight it so you can see that's the instruction that I'm going to put in. Now, the challenge for me is that I can't cut and paste that because I'm on a Mac. So I'm going to have to put this in manually. So this is going to be a bit dull for you as a viewer. We may edit this later and make it easier to view, but anyway, I'm going to put this in. So, whoops, sorry, I'm in the wrong place. Let me just go back. All right, see, I told you I was a dumb user. Okay, let's go over here. We're in here now. Right, WGET space dash small q large O dash space. This is why I like working with Lockie, because he's so patient with me. He never says to me, hurry up, you silly user, because that's how I feel.
This is always the funny thing. I have people that I sit on the other side of these Zoom calls and I feel exactly the same way as you. I think that's always the thing with technology. Everyone knows something that the other person doesn't.
And I envy our younger users because you don't have the problem that I have, that I've got short sight and long sight because I'm a little bit older. So every time I look down, I need to use my eyes differently.
That is actually a good point as well. If you are a bit uncomfortable doing this, which copying private keys and things that we'll see later, which are very mission critical, it is always a good idea to have someone that you trust either with you, looking at over your shoulder, but obviously in these times that can be a bit hard. So running a Zoom or a call where they can see your screen and just verify that you're copying things correctly. 4 eyes are always better than 2. It is always good to have that extra person. Oh, we'll need to go bash. Yep, line bash.
I got to put my line in first. I just was finding the line. Line space bash. All right, so let's just verify that we got this right. WGT space Q large O dash space github.com GS bank mn underscore script releases latest download G999 underscore installer sh space line space bash enter.
So that line that Ant struggled to find, if you don't understand where that is, it does change depending on the keyboard. For Mac users and English keyboard users, it should be where your / is, your slash that runs from left to right.
It is, yes. Same one. Yeah, same one you put in after. Yes, it's just underneath the delete button. It's the next one down on a Mac English keyboard. All right. Now, as you can see, all this gobbledygook has come through, which is wonderful. So we need to put in another command now. Is that right?
Not yet. We let this do its thing.
Oh, it's done its thing.
We go.
Now, see the red writing. The red writing is important because it's got in it some really important information. It's got an IP port, and that's kind of like the street address for this server, so that the internet knows where to go and find it. And then there's also a Masternode private key, which is relevant to this particular Masternode. So I'm actually going to, can I copy and paste these? I can't.
You can't. Okay. These are the ones that are quite difficult to copy and paste.
Right.
So I recommend for people, as Ant has, to keep this tab open and to copy it down. But also a good idea to do is take a screenshot or a photo on your phone if you have the ability to do this. Just for your own records, there's nothing worse than losing these things, and this will only be shown once.
There is my screenshot. Thank you for the advice.
No worries.
So we've got that. So now what I've done, if you've noticed, I've got my Word document open at the same time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Word document to copy this down because I'm going to need this later. So here we go. Here's the 140.82. Do you want to read these out to me? All right. Now we're going to go to the next thing, which is the private key. Good. Well, we have that, and I'm going to save that so we do not have an accident later. So believe it or not, that is the completion of setting up of our server.
There is one step that you have forgotten.
What have I forgotten?
In the console, we have one thing to do, and that is to verify that it is running. So,
that's the point. So I get back to the console.
Go into the console. And we scroll down to the bottom.
Yep.
Now, you will see, please check G999, the very last line. Please check G999 is running with the following command. So we type that in verbatim, which is systemctl with a space.
Oh, sorry, with a space, sorry. CTL space 1.
No one, just CTL status.
CTL, sorry. CTL status space G999 D dot service.
And we hit enter, and that green writing in the middle allows you to verify that your node is up and running, at least from the server side.
Right. So what we've done here then, so let me put this in layman's terms. What we've done is we set up a VPS, which you saw was really easy. I just did it. And by the way, I'd set my account up first. The first thing when you go to Vultr is you set up your account and put in your payment terms and all those normal things. But once that's done, setting the server up itself was really easy. Then what we've done is we've gone here, we've activated the server by putting in the username, root, and the password. And after that, we put a script in that was provided in this Microsoft Word document. Up here, the script, we put that in manually. We put that in manually, and that got the server set up. And it also produced these red pieces of data here that we need. And what we got was the IP port, which is the street address in the internet of the server. And then we got the Masternode private key, which is the name, rank, and serial number of your particular Masternode. Nobody else has that information. And then at the end, what Lockie did was he reminded me that I needed to check whether the system was active. We used that green command, we put it in, we pressed enter, and we now have an active running node server. Yum, yum.
Next step is we link it to your wallet, the exciting bit.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to go somewhere else. So something else I've got on my laptop is my G999 QT, my wallet. So here is my wallet. And as you can see, it's already busy from my other masternodes, giving me rewards. So I'm going to move this across to the left because we're going to need some space to work here. Okay, I'm going to move it to kind of there, I think. All right, now, if we go back to our instruction sheet, we're now on the next part of the instruction sheet, which is the installing the main wallet and configurations. So if we go here to setting options wallet, show masternodes tab, and restart the main wallet. I don't need to do that, do I? Because
so that is for some people when they download the G999 wallet of G999main.net, it can not have the masternodes tab, which is, if you look at your wallet, is the tab on the very bottom. That is the masternodes tab. If you do not see that, then you go to file. We'll just show people where to go. Sorry, we will want to go to the G999 core. We want to go to preferences. Always remember it is slightly different on a Mac than it is on Windows, which is the instructions they have. We want to go to display. So you've got main, wallet, network, and display across the top of that window that's just opened up. Do we want to go to wallet? Sorry.
I think you want to go to wallet. Yes, there we go.
Yes, and we want to make sure that the checkbox for show masternodes tab is ticked. Once that, if that is unticked, tick it, hit OK, close the wallet, and reopen it, and you'll then see the masternodes tab.
So I don't need to do that because, of course, I can see my masternodes tab. But what I can do now is I can follow the next part of the instruction.
Exactly.
And the next part of the instruction is that I now need to send some coins to, I need to get an address and send some coins to it. So we're going to go to the debug console. And the debug console is under tools. There it is, debug console. And I go in there and I type in here the instruction, which was get account address. Let me just check that, get account address space MN1.
Now this is So
what MNN1 means.
So Masternode 1 is an address that is essentially a private wallet within your own wallet. Each one of these addresses is unique to your wallet, so you're not all sending them to one place. It is the place where once they are sent there, that the wallet recognizes that you have locked up Masternode collateral and you are expecting Masternode payouts. So think of this as just a little private compartment for your collateral for the masternodes to be locked up for its 12 months.
So I'm going to press return now, and as you can see, here is my address. So I'm going to copy this address here. I only need to use it once, but actually I'm a cautious person, so I'm just going to stick it here in my down here, just so that I've got it. All right, just so I've got it for later. All right, I don't actually need to keep it, but I'm going to keep it anyway. Now, I'm going to go back to my wallet. I'm going to go to overview, and I'm going to go to send, and I'm going to send this. So here you can see I can paste somewhere. If I copy, look, there's that address. And the amount that I need to send, now this you have to get right. You cannot get this wrong. You get it wrong and life will be very unhappy. You have to put in exactly the right amount here, which is 74999. Is that correct?
Yes. That is correct.
That is the exact amount. You must not put in any other amount, no other decimal points, no other this or that or anything. That's it. 74999.
And as we said before, you are to never send this unless you are willing to have these coins locked up for 12 months as collateral for a masternode. Even if you are sending this to an exchange, to someone else, or to another wallet. This is a special key that the blockchain with G999 recognizes as a masternode collateral payment, which is why it is not a round number. So please never send this number to anywhere that is not a masternode address.
So I'm now going to send this to this masternode address, and I have to put in my password.
Before you hit end to end, do we want to pull the debug console up and just verify the address is correct?
We can do that if you like, yes.
Yeah, I always find it best to check the first 4 digits and the last 4 digits, as they are the ones that usually with copying and pasting I have had go awry.
What we can do is, we don't have to do it like that. What we can do is we can do it from here, because remember, I wisely kept a copy of this so that at any stage we could, so there you go, we can now compare the two. Correct. So we've got the right address.
Correct.
So that's another reason why it's always good to keep these codes when you're working. I just do it. I've always done it for my life because I forget where I put things because I'm a little bit muddle-headed. So it turned out to be a good thing that I copied and pasted that and saved it. So we're now going to go over here and we're going to send. And that, oops, sorry, I've got to enter my phrase again, sorry. Okay. Do you want to send this to this node? And you can see that the address there is the address. And you can see that they're also adding a transaction fee. Now, down here on the right, there is a little slider. And if I just cancel that for the moment, with this slider, if I slide this, you can see the number of blocks here that it requires for a confirmation for a transaction gets bigger, and the price of what you spend gets smaller. Lockie and I both like to get our blocks confirmed quickly. We go as far as 2. You don't need to go to 1. It becomes silly expensive, and it will not use a lot of coins. So that's the advice Lockie and I have given each other, but you can make your own decision.
Indeed.
Yes. Now what we need to do, if we go back to the instruction sheet, is we need to make sure that that transaction has happened. Okay. So we go to the console again, which we had over here, the console. And what we do is we put in a new instruction here, which is master nodes space.
No S on the master nodes.
My apologies.
Master node, but there is an S on outputs.
Okay, and we send that. Right, now I've got a whole load of these because I've done quite a lot of master nodes. I've done 3 previously, but what we're now doing is we're doing this one, which is the last one, and I'm going to copy this again. And I'm going to put it over here in my little treasure trove of stored items. I'll just make it a little bigger so that I can see it. But also, if you notice, there is another number there which is called output ID X1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a return, and I'm going to put 1. And you'll see later why that's important. Am I doing this right?
Absolutely, you're doing really well.
It's all down to you, Lockie. I could never have done this without your help. So let's go and see where we are in the instructions now. So I'm going to close this console. I don't need this console next, do I? Oh, no, I do need it again.
You do not. So we are now done. So we now have everything we need to set up our nodes. All of the mission critical side of things are actually already done now. 3 lines of text essentially, and that's all it takes.
Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to go to the G999 data directory.
Yes.
Now, this is always the one that freaks me out, but in fact, it's a little easier now than it used to be because it's now available in the tools section, because there is now a thing called
master node configuration file.
Yeah. Now before you had to go and find the file, but now you can go to it. Now in my case, it's opened a tool called Atom. And this is a tool that you need to have. No, I don't need that extra coding. You need to have this Atom tool if you're a Mac user, because you can't do this kind of thing in your Mac.
Yes, so there is, on Windows, you will be able to open up your regular text editor. It will by default open when you select this file. However, on Mac, there is no such thing as a text editor. Atom is the one that I personally use. Feel free to download or use whatever text editor you would like. However, Atom, I find, has the ability to open pretty much most coding files in any format. So I just find it's a good thing to have on hand outside of masternodes whenever you need to do anything like this.
Now, as you can see, I've already had some masternodes and I'm just about to do another one. And if you remember, my masternode was called masternode 4. That's what we called our server.
Now, this name is only for you. It's so that you can keep track of your server and also your masternodes under the masternode tabs in the wallet. So feel free to name it whatever you want and whatever is easiest for you. This will not be made public. So just
now,
keep.
I'm going to put a space in here, and look, that's a numbers address. Remember, we had one of those. Let's go and get it. Here it is. That's my numbers address that I needed. So I'm going to copy that.
The good thing here is we can use copy and paste.
I'm going to put it in. So that's the address. Remember, that's the street address we had, and I'm going to put another space in, and I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to copy this, which is the next thing that we needed to copy.
Yes, so this is your private key, your masternode private key.
And we're going to stick that in here. And we're going to make another space. And then there's another number that we need, which is the number we've used previously, which is our
transaction ID.
transaction ID. Now, if you notice, I'm only copying that part of it. I'm doing Command, which is my transaction ID, Command V, and at the end, because we've got this number 1 down here, I'm putting in a space and I'm adding a 1. Now, I'm just going to take you back, before we press and start this, I'm just going to take you back and show you what the instruction was that told me to do this. It's this instruction here. Go and put the name of the masternode in. Do you remember that? That was the name that I'd entered myself. So that was my masternode, master_node_4. Then I put in the VPS I port. Remember, that was the street address. That was that number there. Okay. Then it says, put in the masternode private key. That was that address there that we had. Okay. And then finally put in the step 11.5, which was the transaction ID. That's the number of the long line in step 2.7. That was that number down there. So we put all of the numbers that we need in here now. We now save this file. And away we go.
So after we hit save, we will, so because Ant has already set up multiple masternodes, he doesn't have to do the next steps. I believe they're 12 through to 17. However, we will show you that file and step you through the process of how to set that up if this is your first masternode, which you will also have to do.
So how would you like me to do that? So let's...
Okay, so if we go back to our G999 wallet.
So I'm going to close this.
Yes.
We go back to our G999 wallet. Here we are.
We go to tools, so just where we found the last configuration file, except this time we want to open the wallet configuration file.
Okay.
Now, for first-time users and setters up of masternodes, do not worry, this will be a blank file. It is intentionally blank. Do not be intimidated by that. However, we have a set of instructions that we've got from the masternode tabs on G999 main.net and has in his Word document.
So here we are. So what you can see is you can see that these match the instructions.
So it's 10 to 15.
So here we go.
So we copy and paste these into our blank file, as you can see on the left. One thing that will happen is they will all be bunched up next to each other. To make the computer be able to read them, please just make sure there's a space, at least one blank line, by hitting return or enter underneath each line.
And if you do a cut and paste, don't forget that you'll be taking that number with you. You need to delete that. So as you can see in this line 10 here, RPQser, it doesn't say, it doesn't have the 10 in front of it. So just be careful when you do this. Make sure that you delete all these numbers and full stops, put the gaps in between and make it.
And I suppose you don't have to change anything on this except for RPC user and RPC password. So you can see that on the Word document, it has random username and random password. Replace this with anything that you like, as long as it is only numbers and numerals. Replace this with anything that you would like. They have recently changed that. This is not a password that you need to remember or will lock anything. It just provides the server a sense of security. So once that's all done, we hit save and we head back to G999 wallet.
Okay, now we're back in the wallet.
So what we'll need to do is we need to now close the wallet.
We need to do more than that. We need to quit the wallet and restart it.
We need to quit it and restart it, exactly.
So I'm going to quit that wallet out. And notice here, it's shutting down. So don't do anything silly while it's shutting down. All right, now we're going to open it again.
Yes. Now, it is important to wait for it to finish synchronizing.
Which is
you can see in the bottom left.
Down here, this golden bar going across.
However, if we go to the Masternodes tab while it is synchronizing, if you have done all of these steps correctly, it is with the text files that we've edited, if there is something wrong, when you go to reopen the wallet, it will tell you what is not correct. Please read that error message and go and fix what it tells you is incorrect. And it will tell you what file to go and look for as well. So what we're going to do, and if we say start all for us, let's see if this finds yes. Okay.
So just a little bit of recap for people. What have we done today? So just to help people. First thing we did was we went and we set up a masternode number 4. If you look in my products, I've now got 4 running nodes, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We set up number 4. We put it in Amsterdam, and we did that by deploying a new server and setting it up to the specifications. All right, the next thing we did was we went and we put the appropriate commands in, and the commands we got from our instruction sheet. We set those commands up, and that produced the IP addresses that we needed, which we copied down the address, the ones that we're currently having trouble with. We copied all that down, put it into our Word document to be used later. Then we went over here and using tools, the first thing we did was we paid for our, we did an instruction, we got ourselves the address that we needed to pay. We paid for our masternode, and then after that, we configured the masternode. So go back through the video, watch it again. I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm just going to thank you, Lockie, for coming on this journey with me today. I'm being so patient with an old luggard like me who kind of had to work through slowly.
Oh, it's fine. And look, I hope that it's been useful today for anyone that does see this Zoom call. I hope that it helps you in setting up your nodes. I also hope that it teaches you that it is a process. Stick to your instructions, stick to the video. Things do happen, mistakes are made, but just keep a calm head and keep moving forward.
Lockie, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thanks for being so helpful. And everybody, I hope this is going to be of value to you. All right.
Thank you.